This is Scott Kaplan and Crew Tonight. The very best from today's Scott Kaplan and Crew show on the mightier 1090 AM ESPN Radio. SoCal Sports Talk. Here's Scott Kaplan, Alex Padilla, and John Browner.
Yo, great friends. What's happening? It is Wednesday, July 20th. This is Kaplan and Crew from the 7 Mile Casino Studio, 7milecasino.com. I got Grande and the Brown Man in the house. Fellas, I'm going to throw it to you this way and ask you this. Who really sat down and watched the All-Star game last night? And I'm not talking about watch like the first inning, saw the introductions of the players, saw Manny Machado get booed, saw Clayton Kershaw start the game, Dodger legend in his home ballpark this late in his career, getting that honor. I'm not talking about the beginning stages of the game. I'm talking about like who legitimately watched the Major League Baseball All-Star game last night. Because I'll have to make my admission right now. Bored out of my freaking mind over here. Like, just boring. Like, I'm sorry, man. Like, sorry, not sorry.
What are you
like,
sorry about?
Well,
right.
I don't watch the NBA All-Star game because I think it's boring. I don't watch the NFL's Pro Bowl or any of the skills competitions because I find that to be boring. I've never even known when the NHL All-Star game is. I have no interest in it. And I feel like the baseball all-star game is supposed to have like some form of meaning. And even though it's a 3-2 ball game, I will just tell you guys, I just don't find it exciting. I understand why baseball does it. I know why people want to go to these kinds of games if you have the opportunity to go. I just, as a television product, and for me to sit down and say, hey, don't bother me, I'm watching the all-star game, I just don't find it exciting. So I'm curious what you guys think.
Mm-hmm.
I don't ever find the game that interesting other than the time it ended in chaos in Milwaukee, I think, when it was a tie. Other than that, it's hard to get me to watch a baseball game where I don't have any interest in the actual players or the team. So this didn't do anything for me. I saw Manny's at bat, and that was it.
How about you, Alex?
I watched – what did I watch? I watched all the way up until Musgrove struck out Aaron Judge. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, good. And then because I forgot Cronenworth hadn't played yet. But I don't think he even got an at-bat. I think he was the final out, right, of the game.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I was long gone at that point. I did catch a lot of David Ortiz's act on Twitter. And I was like, where were you on Monday? Mm-hmm. That is exactly the kind of guy they needed on Monday. I know he doesn't work for ESPN. I know he works for Fox, so I get why he wasn't there. But still, that's exactly the kind of guy they needed on Monday night. But I will tell you this. I loved the mic'd up stuff. I loved a pitcher being mic'd up while he was pitching. I loved the hitter being mic'd up while he was hitting. I just think that John Smoltz and Joe Davis, I just don't think they're the right guys to execute the fun they were trying to have. Again, they were calling it like a baseball game. John Smoltz, not the funnest of guys like to do that kind of stuff. But overall, the first 3 innings I saw, it was fine. It was fine.
I listened to a bunch of this game, believe it or not. I listened to a lot of it on radio because I had to get out of my house for a little while. So this was, let's see, the game. Like I was watching all the pregame introductions. This is before 5 p.m. yesterday. Mm-hmm. And then I had to leave my house for a little bit. I listened to quite a bit of it on ESPN radio. Our friend Boog Shambi.
Oh, he's great.
Was doing the call. And I wish I knew who the color commentator was on radio. I don't recall who it was, but he was telling what I thought was an amazing and fascinating story. And I have to find out who it is, but I think that the story was that his father played for the Reds. And this is like the same period of time when Ken Griffey Jr. is a little kid and whoever the ESPN radio color commentator was, he was a little kid. And he was telling this great story about how here he was, this little kid, around a bunch of other little kids, and their dads all played for the Cincinnati Reds. And what they couldn't wait for was when the all-star ballots would come out because they would get the physical hard copy ballots. Remember when we were little kids? I don't know if you guys remember this, but it's not like it is now where you go online and you vote, and then you submit. Right. Back in the day, it was they would give them to you at the ballpark. They'd actually give you a piece of paper and you'd like ping, like I'm trying to think of the right phrase here, but where you'd like
no hanging chads.
Yeah, like you would poke the hole, and then you would submit your hard copy. And the guy, I don't know if you can Google it, Alex, to find out who the color commentator was that was working with Shambi.
Doug Glanville.
Who is
I
it?
like Doug
Doug
Glanville.
Glanville.
Doug Glanville. I don't know for sure if that's
Jim
who it was.
Kirkchin,
Nope.
Buster Olney.
Okay, then it must have been Glanville. And I don't know who his dad was. I guess his dad played. I want to say his dad played first base for the Reds because that's what he was talking about. Because he was saying that Glanville, let's assume it's him, Ken Griffey Jr., and he mentioned a whole bunch of other ball players' kids. He's like, we would wait for the ballots to come in. Then we would get the physical hard copy ballots, and the kids would all be sitting around, poke, 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 and they were voting only for Cincinnati Reds players. And it was pretty funny because Shambi said to him, hey, was there ever a time where, maybe you wanted to vote for your favorite player, but you kind of couldn't? And he's like, yeah, I wanted to vote for Willie Stargell. And I wanted to vote for Dave Parker. I loved those guys, but they played for the Pirates. They didn't play for the Reds, so I couldn't vote for them. And I'm trying to remember, he said one of them, I think it was Willie Stargell, played first base, which is what his dad played. So I didn't know all the history of the Reds, and I actually was listening and was like, I'm not even sure who this voice is. But I thought it was a great story, and I actually thought listening to the All-Star game on radio was better than what I saw on television, believe it or not. So I don't know how many people were driving around.
I was a big
to it
fan of the jerseys last night. We've had these discussions about the City Connect jerseys, and I saw people upset that every player wasn't wearing their own jersey with an all-star hat like in years past. But those jerseys yesterday were pretty fire. Those charcoal ones that the American League was rocking. I'll buy one of them.
I always like
nice.
I always like it when you have your own jersey in the All-Star game. I think what they should have done is had all the players wear their City Connect jerseys in the All-Star game. That would have been dope because when the NBA makes these jerseys, they're always a miss. They're almost always a miss. I like to see guys in their original team uniforms, maybe the third alternate color, all together in the All-Star game. That would be cool.
Yeah, that would be a good idea if everybody wore their City Connect stuff. That would be good.
That'd be dope.
I actually didn't love it, and I don't really make a whole lot out of the uniforms, but I always feel like it's better to know that each player is representing their city by wearing their uniform.
Yeah.
But I mean, what they did was they essentially said everybody's going to wear the same uniform, only you're going to have your team logo here. So it could have been Yankees or Twins or Dodgers or Padres or whatever. You could, so you're wearing your team's logo. It's just on a standard uniform that everybody else was wearing. So
I thought it was cool. I just liked them. Maybe that's why I didn't mind, because I liked them.
Let me hear what you got for us here, Alex. Since everybody, the All-Star game was the sports story of last night. I guess I'll start off with this. So Manny Machado, and I'm gonna, my brain is working overtime right now, so bear with me, everybody. One of the things that if you're a Padres fan, that I think is cool about this year's All-Star game, that is different than in generations past. You know what the Padres actually have right now? All-Stars. They actually have All-Stars. There was a time, Browner, I always kind of joke with you about how you're not a scarred Padre fan, which is why you still have so much optimism. There was a time where the Padres never had All-Stars. Never. And you know how each team has to have a representative?
Yes.
They pick some guy out of the bullpen, dude. But I'm not talking high profile. I'm not talking about a closer. Yes, Heath Bell was in it at one time. Yes, Trevor Hoffman was in it at one time. But there were some years, dude, where the Padres just did not legitimately have an all-star player.
Just sent the dude. Hey, bro, you go to the All-Star game.
Right, and everybody.
Like the A's this year.
Yes, right. yes.
That story about the guy from the A's that was there one all-star. Did you guys hear this story?
Dude, yes.
Same thing for Juan Soto, by the way.
Juan Soto, did you hear that?
Yeah. No, I didn't hear about Juan Soto.
So Juan Soto, the Nationals refused to charter him a plane after he declined their extension. So he had to fly commercial. And yesterday, Scott Boras made a big-ass deal about it because he's like, yeah, they put this kid on a commercial flight. He didn't arrive in L.A. till 2 a.m, and then he won the home run derby.
Damn. Well, the guy from the A's, he told a great story. I guess the A's were playing the Astros prior to the end of the first half, and he was the only A's representative going to the All-Star game, and the Astros had a couple, I don't know exactly how many players for the Astros were in the All-Star game, but I guess they found out that he was going to have to fly commercial to L.A.
Paul Blackburn.
And the Astros were like, yo, man, Blackie, you want to get on our charter? And he was like, okay. And he told this really funny story. I guess he got on the Houston team bus to go to the airport. He said he's sitting on the Astros team bus, and the players are walking in, and they're kind of looking at him like, I don't know exactly who that is. And he was looking at them going, I'm not exactly sure who you guys are either.
New guy.
But he,
Make a trade?
He caught a ride, dude.
Yeah.
He caught a ride.
So the A's should be reprimanded for that. That's
what about the Nationals?
Yeah, what about the Nationals?
Exactly the same.
What about any team that didn't send their charter plane?
If you can't send your player to the All-Star game to represent your franchise on your team plane, you should be reprimanded by baseball. There should be a penalty for this. This is for the A's.
Padres
for the
charter a
A's.
plane from San Diego?
On. That's different.
Why is it different?
Because
if Kylie Jenner can take a private plane
for 3
from
minutes.
Carlsbad not Carlsbad. Where is it? Calabasas to downtown LA, then why can't they fly from San Diego to LA? Huh?
Look, here's the thing. Take the Padres out of it.
I just did that drive, Brown. It took me 4 hours to get to Oxnard, man.
Okay, but just take the Padres out for 1 second. Browner, when you say that the A's should have flown their one representative on the team's charter plane, I don't agree with that.
Plane?
Now, if they would have chartered a small private plane for their all-star player, that part of it I would agree with. But to send one guy on a big old plane seems a little excessive, especially when you're the Oakland A's organization and everybody knows how broke they are and they got nobody in their stadium watching ball games. The Juan Soto thing is just spiteful. It's, hey, he didn't sign with us long term, so we're going to just make it so that he's uncomfortable. And what do we care?
DC to LA is a lot further than Oakland to LA. That's like a big deal. Like, dude,
Oakland to LA, if the A's wanted to charter this guy Blackburn a flight, would have cost him less than $10,000.
I just think if you're a Major League Baseball team or you're a Major League franchise of any level of sport, there's some things that are baked in. That's one of them. Cut the check, man. You're a big boy. This is a big boy sport. This is big money sport. And the fact that Major League Baseball allowed this is absurd. If I were that guy's agent, he would never play for them again. Would never play.
Well, maybe he's going to get traded to the Astros.
I hope so.
A little scouting report
I hope so.
before we trade for him.
Just sell the team, man. If you can't afford to do simple stuff, sell the team. But if you're doing stuff out of spite, if I'm Juan Soto, I'm never going back to that. I'm never playing for them again. Trade me before I get back on Friday, bro.
Yeah, I kind of like that, honestly. If I'm Soto, if it was because of spite and you're going to trade me anyways, I'm not playing anymore.
Right.
I'd be like, I would go back and I'd be like, listen, the home run derby took a lot out of me. And I feel like maybe I've got a little bit of a pulled muscle over here. Just a little one. But enough that you don't want to play me and I don't want to play because you don't want me to get further hurt and then lose, the value of right now. I mean, everybody's going to want Soto anyway. But in fact, just on a side note, did you happen to see the Dodger fans in the outfield? I think they were chanting to him, future Dodger. No, not fight. Okay. Future Dodger, future Dodger. And Juan Soto turns around and smiles and then realizes it's the third out and he's got to go. But the Dodger fans were all over Soto saying that he's going to be a future Dodger. And I got a message from somebody that said, it was Fat Tony. Fat Tony sent me a text and he said, this cannot happen. And he sent me the TikTok of the fans yelling to Juan Soto that he's going to be a future Dodger. And Fat Tony's like, this cannot happen. Here's what Padre fans should hope for. Either A, the Padres get Soto, or B, the Yankees get Soto. You don't want Soto going to the Dodgers if you're a Padre fan. On the other hand, if you're a Dodger fan, even though it might feel like we have more money than anybody else and we can go out and get whoever we want, you'll take it regardless of how it comes. Because it's not like the Dodgers, they've virtually outspent everybody and they've gotten everybody they've ever wanted, and they've been able to make big moves, but they haven't won the World Series other than the shortened season. So Dodger fans aren't going to be like, we don't want them because we don't want everybody to say we bought our championship. Dodger fans are like, we would like to win a legit World Series in a 162-game season. We'll take Juan Soto.
And if they sign Juan Soto, is this a sign that they're going to let Trey Turner go?
Well, they don't need to nobody needs to sign Juan Soto for 2 years. So that's the thing. It's like the same way they got Trey Turner for last year and this year. They're probably going to re-sign Trey Turner because they don't have Corey Seager anymore. They don't really have a backup. But you don't have to worry about Juan Soto for 2 more years.
Yeah,
that's why he's so
after.
valuable.
Yeah,
because it's not like he's coming in for a 70-game rental.
Yeah, and if you're the Dodgers, if you're the Dodgers and or the Yankees, you can get Juan Soto now. You have 2 years of control, but he just turned down a $450 million contract for like 14 years or whatever it is. If you're the Yankees or the Dodgers, you could trade for him and immediately say to him, okay, look, we want to do a 10-year, $500 million contract. And he'll go, okay, great, let's do that. Because I want it out of Washington where they won't fly me privately to the All-Star game. And I still put it in their face by winning the home run derby. But I want to be in LA or I want to be in New York and I want to make the big bucks. And I don't want to have a lifetime commitment to these guys. I mean, I think the Yankees or the Dodgers could make him that kind of an offer. Yeah. The Padres could get him, could hold him, could get the most out of him. And then after 2 more seasons, they could be like, all right, you got to walk because we're not going to give you a $500 million contract.
Right.
At least I don't think they are.
And also, when you got to look at major league talent as well, when you're talking about a trade for Juan Soto. And I think the Dodgers have more major league talent that they're available to trade. Like if you're looking at players that are ready to kind of play now, the Dodgers have a lot. They're a deep team. So I think they can afford to even get rid of like Bellinger. They can afford to get rid of someone like that on top of prospects and pull this trade off. Whereas if you're the Padres, I guess CJ Abrams is considered major league because he's playing major league ball, and so is Gore. But I think the Dodgers, it feels like they have endless resources when it comes to these kinds of things.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think Padre fans should brace for the worst and hope for the best.
After what happened last year, I really don't think maybe it can. But I really don't think it can get worse than that feeling last year.
This would be worse. No, this would be worse.
To know that Max Scherzer was a Padre. Like it was, when blue check marks are saying he's a Padre, and then literally 30 minutes later, wait, and then 2 hours later, hold on, and then 4 hours later, oh, never mind, he's a Dodger, and they got Trey Turner. Bro, like that's as bad as it can feel. I promise you, that's as bad as it can feel. Because even if the Dodgers get Soto, there's not going to be a report, I don't think, that he was a Padre.
Right.
That's the difference. It can't get worse than last year. It could be like the cherry on top of the dick punch, though. That's for sure.
Well, prepare. All I'm saying to Padre fans, let me talk to you for a second. Padre fans, prepare for the worst, hope for the best. You've heard the rumors that Juan Soto is a possibility for the Padres, but you also know what happened a year ago. So prepare for the worst, get braced for it, and hope for the best. Now, on the other hand, let me talk to Dodger fans for a second. Dodger fans, you don't have to brace for the worst or hope for the best because Dodger fans have a different emotion. It's called expectation. See, the Dodger fans expect Andrew Friedman and the Dodger front office to go out there and pull off some kind of a crazy trade to get this sort of a superstar talent, this young, this controllable, this inexpensive for now. So Padre fans, brace for the worst, hope for the best. Dodger fans expect Juan Soto to be your guy. And I think that's what makes it so exciting is how we're going to watch this whole thing play out. And if the Padres and the Dodgers are truly involved, we'll obviously be seeing here coming up shortly. All right, look, a lot of other things from the All-Star game yesterday, presuming, of course, that everybody thinks this is the sports story of the day, because today's the rare day where there's really nothing going on. And I say nothing, meaning like there's no sports. There's no baseball games tonight. Obviously, we all know NBA's in their offseason. Football training camps have opened. We'll get into some of that stuff coming up. But today's the day where sports kind of shuts down. What are you saying, Alex?
WNBA.
Is there a WNBA game tonight?
There's one. Yeah. Oh, it happened already.
Oh. Browner will be watching or would have been watching.
Storm versus the Sky.
They got to stop doing this, man. I'm so confused at what the WNBA does with their product. They keep complaining about them not having enough visibility, and they put the game on at a time when people are at work. Like, yeah, it's the summertime. People are still at work, bro. Like, play the games at night.
Dude, you could play this game tonight at prime time, and nobody's going to be watching it.
Yeah, but you can't complain that nobody watches if you put the game on at 3 o'clock. It's not good. It's not good.
I mean, I understand what they're trying to do. They're like, hey, there's nothing going on other than the ESPYs tonight.
There's a Mexican Soccer League match, the Chivas versus León. That's at 7:05 tonight.
Are the ESPYs on tonight? Like, will we see it live or will we see it on tape? I guess we're probably going to see it on tape.
Gotta be honest with you, dude. I have no idea.
Yeah, me neither.
This seems like a night.
I know that Steph. I didn't even know until today that Steph Curry is hosting.
Yeah, he's the host. Yeah. All right, hold on. We got a lot of stuff we were going to get to. Stick around, everybody. I do want to remind you, though, about our man Gary Cooper, 858-376-1299, 858-376-1299. Anything having to do with real estate or lending, Gary's our go-to guy. I was telling you guys this in the pre-roll of the show, that in my neighborhood, there are like 3 houses lined up for sale, for rent, for sale. And these houses have had signs in front of them for a long time. And then a block away, there's a place that says for rent. That sign's been up for like 2 months. I'm shocked. Another place right around the corner says coming soon. And I'm telling you, 4 or 5 months ago, if something said coming soon, it was gone before it was officially listed. You couldn't get a rental. All of a sudden, things have really slowed down in the market. You want an expert's opinion? Call Gary, 858-376-1299, 858-376-1299. So much more to get to. Stick around. This is Kaplan and crew from the 7 Mile Casino.
We'll be right back with more of Scott Kaplan and crew tonight. The very best from today's Scott Kaplan and crew show on the mightier 1090 AM ESPN Radio. SoCal Sports Talk.
You're watching Kaplan and Crew tonight, powered by the mightier 1090 AM ESPN Radio and Your View, featuring the best sports talk in SoCal.
Dominating the SoCal radio airwaves for over 20 years. Join Scott Kaplan, Alex Padilla, and John Browner for Kaplan and Crew every Monday through Friday, 3 to 6 p.m. Only on the mightier 1090 ESPN Radio, SoCal Sports Talk, and the mightier1090.com.
Please welcome in tax attorney Adam Brewer. Adam, thanks so much for joining us again on Main Street Living.
Yeah, thank you. Happy to be back.
So, of course, we have more tax questions for you. First of all, what are the types of business entities that business owners can use?
Yeah, I had a feeling you'd ask this question. So this time of year, this is when, business owners probably just got handed a pretty big tax bill. And so naturally, the next question is, how can they save taxes? How can they save on taxes? And so that's where these business entities really, they may come in. So yeah, what we're looking at is corporations or limited liability companies, more commonly called LLCs. So definitely by using either a corporation or an LLC, business owners may be able to really save on taxes. For the most part, when we talk about tax savings, we're looking at like an S Corp election. And so again, an LLC can do that, a corporation can do that. But the net result is you want to save on what's called self-employment tax. So for 2022, a business owner is going to, by default, pay self-employment tax on the first $147,000 of taxable income. So that's 15.3%. By doing an S Corp election, putting yourself on payroll, you can really drive down how much of your income you have to pay that 15.3% at. Beyond the tax savings, it just offers an extra level of protection between the business owner's personal assets, say their home, and their business operation. So, no matter what business you operate, you're going to have some exposure to liability. So an entity like a corporation, like an LLC, it just puts that extra level of protection between the business and then what the owner has on their personal side.
Yeah, well, clearly a plethora of information that you always provide to us, Adam. We appreciate you being on the show. Where can our viewers get in touch with you for more tax help?
Yeah, like always, they can visit my website, triumphovertax.com, or feel free to pick up the phone. You can always give me a call, 619-591-9500.
The 2022 San Diego Loyal season continues. Live on Your View and YourView.com. Watch the San Diego Loyal host the Rio Grande Valley FC Toros Saturday, July 23rd at 7 p.m. Come join us at Torero Stadium and support the San Diego Loyal as they continue their bid for the 2022 USL Championship. Tickets are available. San Diego Loyal versus the Rio Grande Valley FC Toros, Saturday, July 23rd on YourView.
Welcome back. This is Scott Kaplan and Crew Tonight. The very best from today's Scott Kaplan and Crew show on the mightier 1090 AM ESPN Radio. SoCal Sports Talk. Here's Scott Kaplan, John Browner, and Alex Padilla.
Hey, great friends. What's happening? It is Wednesday afternoon. It's Kaplan and Crew with Grande and the Brown Man from the 7 Mile Casino Studios, 7milecasino.com. So we were talking about the All-Star game, and one thing I know I was about to say that I never really got to. The one cool thing from a Padre fan perspective is the Padres actually have all-stars. I was mentioning this earlier, how there was a period of time where the Padres did not have any all-star caliber players, and consequently, it would be just some random dude from the bullpen who most Padre fans barely knew. Nobody around Major League Baseball had any idea who this person was, but each team had to have a representative. I would say this. In particular, Manny Machado and Joe Musgrove. First of all, Manny Machado gets booed at Dodger Stadium because Manny Machado is a former Dodger. When he was there, they didn't, win a World Series like they thought they were going to. And that is kind of where Manny's his reputation developed as, and not saying that it didn't in Baltimore. I'm just saying that people heard a lot more about it when Manny Machado was kind of talking about why he doesn't hustle down to first base. At least that's what people remember. To see Manny Machado get booed at an all-star game, that tells you that that's how Dodger fans feel about him. He's a good player on a, putting this in air quotes for those listening, from a rival team. Listen, if that would have been Barry Bonds 10 years ago, 15 years ago, Dodger fans would have booed him too. So the fact that the Padres legitimately have all-star players, that they have an all-star starting pitcher who finds himself going up against one of the great power hitters of baseball and gets a strikeout, it's exciting if you're a Padre fan to actually have Padre all-stars. Do you understand what I'm getting at, Alex? Because Browner here, I don't think, we always say he doesn't have the battle scars. There was a time where the Padres legit did not have an all-star.
Yeah, I mean, and what's even more surprising is they had 5 last year. This is a different era of Padres baseball. You're 100% spot on. Since the addition of Manny Machado and the rising of Fernando Tatis, this is a different era of Padres baseball. This is a different.
That's right.
As far as name recognition goes, because the owner came in and said, I would even say it probably started with the Matt Kemp, that whole disaster.
That flame out, yeah.
It started then, where the Padres started getting, the Uptons, the James Shields, the Matt Kemps, the Machados. Now, even after that, Will Myers was an all-star. Drew Pomeranz is an all-star. So you're right, Scott. For a while, though, it was like, which reliever are we sending today? Houston Street. Go for it, bro. Yeah. This is our closer, because Padres always have good closers. So it is nice to see. And the whole, don't put it in quotations, okay? Because I didn't hear Dodger fans even make a peep when they introduced CJ Cron of the Rockies. All right? You booed Cronenworth. You booed Musgrove. You heavily booed Machado because listen, we haven't beat you guys in anything, but you still care.
Of course they
still
care.
And I know Jock Peterson was the lone, I think he was the lone representative of the Giants. Obviously, they're not going to boo him. They should, because the Braves beat him. He was on the Braves, but don't do that.
Look, man,
don't do that.
Stop trying to pretend like it ain't real. It's real. People want to make it like, oh, the Padres and the Dodgers have a real tension between the two of them, fans and players, and it's awesome. It's absolutely awesome. They know it's coming. They feel the flair. They feel the style. San Diego got style, dog, and they hating. Especially they fans. Well,
you say that they have a tension. That's probably a good word, because I will tell you right now, the Padres look at the Dodgers as their rivals. We all get that. The Dodgers do not look at the Padres as their rivals. But you're right. I mean, having Dave Roberts, who's a former Padre, who's a native San Diegan, who's now the manager of the Dodgers,
and the way he was ran out.
Yeah, and the way that the Dodgers have owned the Padres, for them, from a Dodger perspective, Padres are just, okay, you're a little annoying guy from down south. We love coming down to your ballpark. It's really nice. We love to take over your ballpark. By the way, we love to come down to your city. We love San Diego. We just don't like the fact that you guys think you're ever going to be able to compete against us. And so there is, I love the word you use, Browner. There's a tension between the Dodgers and the Padres, the players, the organizations, the fan bases. But in terms of legit rivalry, the Dodgers do not look at the Padres as rivals. Just the same way, by the way, it used to be for the Raiders. The Chargers and the Charger fans would get up for the Raiders. Hey, it's Raider week in town, is back in the day. But the Raiders were like, yeah, but we don't really look at the Chargers as like our bitter rival. The Raiders might have looked at the Chiefs. They might have looked at the Broncos. They might have looked at the
Chargers
Steelers.
win like 12 in a row.
There was a time, and I want to say, this is going back, I got to try and figure out the exact year, but I would say probably, I'm going to call it about 2005-ish. Phillip Rivers made his first start for the Chargers in Oakland. LaDainian Tomlinson ran all over the Raiders in that game. I only remember that game so well because me and Billy Ray and Party with Marty went to that game with a whole bunch of listeners. We went to a Padres-Giants game on like a Sunday night. And then on Monday night, we went to a Raiders-Chargers game. We sat in what was in the Oakland Coliseum, what was called like Mount Davis, which is a place where we used to actually, people would sit there, but years later would be tarped off. This is like the upper deck of center field if the A's were playing. And that night we were about 30 or 40 people, all in powder blue in a sea of black and silver. We stood out like a sore thumb. And Billy Ray, he can be real loud, and he was kind of chirping with a bunch of fans, mostly because Marty was ready to fight everybody. And when the Chargers destroyed the Raiders that night, I honestly did not think we were getting out of that stadium. I thought we were going to have to fight our way out of the stadium. Thankfully, it all kind of got smoothed over. But yeah, there was a time where the Chargers owned the Raiders. I mean, owned them.
So on the field, it's not necessarily a rivalry because the Dodgers have been dominant, but I would say that Dodger fans like beating the Padres more than any other team in the division right now. Like the joy that comes from beating us, and that to me is significant of a rivalry.
Right.
The same way, like, listen, and I'm not trying to talk trash about Browner, but like the same way Aaron Rodgers did the "I own you" thing to the Bears. Like,
come on, man.
But it's a rivalry, Like the Bears, like who do you like beating more, Browner? The Packers. Everybody loves beating the Packers in our division. That's what it is. And the Packers
I enjoy beating the Lions, actually.
And the Packers
you
just
can win.
Yeah.
Right.
One team
we do that a lot.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. Like the Packer fans, like pat their heads, like, okay, guys, like, you got to win, right?
Nice.
It's the same thing.
Nice.
Yeah, it's the same thing. But it's still a rivalry. It still means more. And the Dodgers are dominating the rivalry on the field. But off the field, there's a lot to it. It's social media. It's in the stands. I saw when the Giants went to Dodger Stadium, a lot of empty seats, dude. There's a lot. The Padres went, sold out.
I think you're right, though, that the Dodger fans do take great pleasure in putting the Padre fans in their place.
Yes.
Like, hey, you guys have always been little brother. You guys have never really emerged to compete against us. Yeah, you had a couple of seasons here and there, in the mid 80s and the late 90s. You had a couple of good years, but consistency over the long haul, the Padres and the Dodgers are in two different stratospheres. The Dodgers live amongst the Yankees, and the Padres live amongst the Mets. And that is just the reality of the situation. But I feel like you're right that the Dodger fans do love to stick it to the Padre fans, mostly because the Padre fans so want to be what the Dodgers organizationally have always been, which is flush with cash and ready to make deals. And this generation of the Padres, even though the Dodgers have owned them, you get a Machado who's a character. You get a Tatis who, when he comes back, if he becomes the player he was, he's a flashy star player. You have competitive starting pitching staffs. So, yeah, I mean, the Padres are trying to catch up, and the Dodgers like to keep the Padres down, and thus far, They certainly have.
It's
Yeah, it is
fun.
fun. It is fun, and it
It's
should be fun for
And
both
listen,
fan
and no matter
bases.
what the right, and no matter what Dodger fans may say, it's fun to kick the Padres' ass, and it's fun for the Padres to try and get to that level. And I think that they have a lot of work to do, but it's fun. It adds to the excitement. It is like the Dodgers and Giants. They had a stretch there of like 10 years where they were like the only two good teams in the division.
Mm-hmm.
So they just went after each other forever and ever and ever. But even last year when the Giants won over 100 games in one division, didn't it still feel like up until the Padres started collapsing, like they were paying more attention to us than they were of them.
Right. I think it's because, and two, we have more recognizable players. Like the Giants, Buster Posey was great. Buster Posey didn't have that Tatis flash, dog. I think a lot of it changed with Manny Machado coming from the Dodgers, and I think a lot of it changed when we got Tatis because normally the Dodgers get the attention, they get the stars, they get the flair, they get the energy, and then all of a
100%.
sudden, nationally commercials, you start seeing Fernando Tatis in Gatorade commercials, and you start seeing Fernando Tatis in Nike commercials, or Adidas, I think it was, and you start going, well, wait a minute,
Dairy Queen,
Dairy
dog.
Queen. That's
Dairy Queen, baby.
with the Dodger. Like those things are reserved
accident
for
insurance commercials.
Right. Those are reserved for Dodgers or Yankees. Padres players don't get that.
Accident insurance is a good one, Alex. I hadn't thought about that one. That's a good one for Fernando Tatis.
But you're right.
Fernando
I really
Tatis for accident insurance for the general.
General. Hey, Shaq, look out.
You get an accident? Call 1-800-GENERAL now. But you're right. I didn't even think about it that way. It may be as simple as Manny Machado.
Yeah.
It might be as simple as the fact that the Padres got Machado at the same time they started spending some real money and into their good phase, that it became something more because Dodger fans hate Machado that much that it might have trickled into the whole organization. And that's a very good point, Brian. Spot on.
Way to go, Brown. Way to go, man. How about that?
Broken clock, baby.
Maybe that simple.
Okay.
My dog just walked in. Sorry, I got super distracted in the middle of your rant, Scott.
Yeah.
My dog just walked in with a giant shaved circle on her head with this like dollar-sized hot spot, and she's so high she could barely walk.
Can you pick her up? Can we see her?
Oh, I told Mara to take her out. I can't because I can't keep an eye on her. So she's so faded right now that we don't need to put the cone on because she's just like she doesn't know what's happening.
And what's wrong with her? Do we know what's wrong with her or no?
Yeah, so she's got allergies, as you guys know.
Mm-hmm.
She's on a daily medication, which is like we thought it was, but then yesterday she woke up with this lump on her head, and then we couldn't take her to the vet because they were so full. So we had to do a walk-in this morning at 7 a.m. And because it got worse, it was like almost pus-like on top, and it was a big old it was gross. So they called us and they're like, we have to shave her head, we have to inject her with stuff, and she's got blah 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 blah. She walked in and she looked like a, what's those? The fryer. She looked like a fryer.
Yeah. Hey, let me ask you something. Do you have pet insurance?
I don't, and it's stupid that I don't. But today was not as bad as I was.
How much? How much today?
I just got the invoice.
Yeah. How much for the vet? Browner, take a guess. What's the vet bill today?
How about I read everything that was given to her, and then you guys take a guess.
All right. Here we go.
All right. Well, general exam, injection of hydromorphone,
okay,
injection of Cytopoint for her allergy, wound care minor. We were prescribed cefmoxidine, Proxetil, 200 milligram tablets, and we were also given prednisone.
All right, Browner, how much is his vet bill today?
$450.
That's the kind of guess I was coming up with too. I'll go $451.
You guys both went over significantly.
Oh, really?
Thank God. Yeah. $281.
Still, dude.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
Still, that's not terrible. But $300. I pay, I want to say, I think $100 a month or nearby in pet insurance.
And then now the problem is that we waited so long that there's so much stuff on her file.
Right, she got pre-existing conditions now.
I need to get my Sentry card so I could just take her to TJ, dude. That's what I got to do.
You need to get a global entry.
Global entry.
Yeah. I got that. Yeah, I got that.
Mara has it too.
Well, then then don't get it. Didn't tell Mara to do it. I just saw the eye roll. Like, yeah, that's gonna work. Me telling her to do anything. Yeah, good luck.
Hey, go to TJ and take the dog.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, I need to get it, and whatever it is, I just got to get it because who knows what else is going to come up with this dog,
Yeah.
Like,
I do know.
do you remember? Did I ever show a picture of like when they did the human allergy test to her,
No.
where they shaved her stomach and injected her with like 100 different things to find out what she's allergic to?
I remember
and
that.
And the chart came back,
Yeah.
and she was allergic to 83 of 100.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
I was like, what did we get? What did we rescue?
Right.
Like
right.
I thought full bred dogs had this issue. Like Scott, you got a French bulldog. Those dudes are the ones that have allergies and all these conditions. I thought we got like a Rosarito street dog, a tough dog that could eat hot dogs. And no, we got this like freaking fragile beast.
Dude, you got a house. Like you wind up putting more money into that freaking dog. Like I thought I was getting this street dog that was tough, that would get hurt, would get up, wipe his paws off. No, you got a prima donna street dog.
You know what I got? I got the kind of dog that if I take her to the dog park, I have to use dog wipes on her to get all the allergens off. That's what I got.
Damn.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Hey, what a headache.
What a headache. Well, for her, literally, what a headache.
Yeah, really. Hey, everybody, let me just have 1 minute to just give you guys a heads up that it is grilling season, right? I mean, it's summertime. The weather's beautiful. The sun stays out late. It doesn't get dark till like 8:30 at night. If you need anything for the grilling season, and it can be big stuff, hardware, like a big green egg or a gas grill, or Brian imports these Italian pizza ovens, like these wood fire thingy ovens, man, where if you got the space in your backyard and you love outdoor cooking, this might be something for you. The nice part is if you're thinking about building a kitchen out back and you want to have an outdoor cooking space, Brian and his team from West Coast BBQ Shop, they can come to you and they can put it all together. I mean, they have in the store, lots of different displays of countertops and wine refrigerators and regular refrigerators, and then the grill built in. They have all that stuff in the store. Delivery, installation, the whole thing. They do it all. So whether you're looking for a big green egg or you're looking at a gas grill, like Alex has the Napoleon grill. If you're thinking about, you just need stuff for grilling. Like I need a spatula and I need tongs and I need a thermometer to stick in the meat. And I want one of those thermometers that I can watch the temperature on my phone. I know when to go out. Anything having to do with grilling, Brian and his family at West Coast BBQ Shop, they've got it because they're the experts. They are so into grilling that when you come into the store and you're thinking about hardware or sauces or spices, they're also like, hey, what are you cooking? Well, we're going to go get some big steaks. They're like, you don't have to go anywhere. They're in the fridge here. Tomahawk steaks, New York strips, the whole deal. West Coast BBQ Shop, westcoastbbqshop.com. They are great partners to the show. And I ask you always to support our sponsors. If you can't make it down to Chula Vista, 2330 Proctor Valley Road, at least go onto their website, westcoastbbqshop.com.
Gotta use my grill more. It's summertime.
Yeah, I know. I was just talking to Rachel about this as well, because at her place, she now wants to do exactly what we're talking about, which is she wants to build an outdoor kitchen. So I was like, look, why don't we just go buy a new grill down at West Coast BBQ? We'll get a great deal. She said, no, I don't want just a grill on wheels. I want to build in, all the components. And I'm like, well, they do that too. And she actually said to me, she goes, they do? I didn't know they did that. So if she didn't know, a lot of you guys probably don't know, they do that kind of stuff too. So check them out, westcoastbbqshop.com. All right. So Manny Machado gets booed in the All-Star game. And I think, to me, that's a sign of respect. When you are a guy who played for the Dodgers, you now play for the Padres. The Padres are, they're competitive. They're not necessarily like on your heels to win the division, but they're competitive. I think that just the booing is a good thing. It is a sign of respect. Can we see what happened to Manny as he was introduced yesterday?
Yes. I also combined it with the introduction of Musgrove.
The third baseman from the San Diego Padres, Manny Machado. Diego Padres, Jake Cronenworth. And Joe Musgrove.
Here we go.
Yeah, I feel like with Manny Machado, it's like, boo, I don't like you. With Jake Cronenworth, and I hate to say it, but with Joe Musgrove, I don't think those were boos. I think those were hoos.
No.
They were not. They were not like eagerly booed the way Manny was.
They were not eagerly booed, but they were still booed.
Yeah.
But I guess according to the write-up today in the UT, Cronenworth, when they saw Manny get introduced like that, he looked over to Musgrove and he's like, "Look at your jersey." He's like, "Yeah, we're getting booed." and then after the game,
this is Jake Cronenworth. Go ahead, read that quote for everybody.
he says, "This is the first time I got booed at Dodger Stadium, so that's pretty awesome."
To me, that is a badge of honor. It really is, dude. In the all-star game where everything is supposed to be neutral, but you are also playing in your rival city and you still get booed in a neutral game. That's awesome. That is legit awesome.
Yeah. And again,
really cool.
Manny Machado is one thing because he's got a reputation before he got to LA.
Right.
And then
a history with LA.
Right. And then he didn't have the success in LA wearing a Dodger uniform. And now he just went, 2 hours south and he's playing for the Padres and having a great season. So I understand the booing of Machado, but from a Cronenworth Musgrove perspective, they're like, oh my God, they're like, they're booing us. That's good.
Yeah. Browner was like, "Yeah, boo that man."
Yeah, exactly. And it worked. The all-star version now.
All right, we got a lot more to get to from the all-star festivities. I know that's kind of what everybody's talking about. From the actual game itself, I found it to be quite boring, frankly, but all the festivities and all the social media and everything else that goes with it, kind of fun. So we'll keep it rolling. We're in the 7 Mile Casino Studios. This is Kaplan and Crew.
I'm tax attorney Adam Brewer. If you have a serious tax problem with the IRS or state of California, then you don't need a tax relief company, you need a tax attorney. Call or visit my website to schedule your free tax evaluation.
You're watching Kaplan and Crew tonight, powered by the mightier 1090 AM, ESPN Radio, and Your View, featuring the best sports talk in SoCal.
Rome comes home. Yes, I said it. You can now catch the Jim Rome Show Monday through Friday, noon until 3 p.m. on the mightier 1090 ESPN Radio. Back to San Diego, where it all started, on the mightier 1090 ESPN Radio, SoCal Sports Talk.
Please welcome 4 of the 5 San Diego County Teachers of the Year from the 2021-2022 school year. From Central Elementary School, Laura Reyes. From Westville High School, Tiffany Jokers. From San Jose Elementary School, Jacqueline Jordan. And from St. Joe Chavez Middle School, Todd Sanders. Teachers, please deliver the pitch. San Diego County Teachers of the Year with their honorary pitch.
I thought I was okay. I had a degree, I had work experience. I should be able to provide for my kids. But they're just things that you don't plan on in life.
My husband got laid off and we are a family of 5.
My mom was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. I would ask the doctors, what can I do? And they would just say, just make sure she's eating. Our lives just changed completely. Thank God that we always had a plate of food.
I'm tax attorney Adam Brewer. If you have a serious tax problem with the IRS or state of California, then you don't need a tax relief company, you need a tax attorney. Call or visit my website to schedule your free tax evaluation.
Listen to the Mike Greenberg Show, 7 to 9 a.m. Pacific, Monday through Friday. Greeny brings his unmatched depth of sports knowledge, fun, and entertainment back to ESPN on a daily basis. The Mightier 1090 ESPN Radio, SoCal Sports Talk, and the Mightier1090.com.
Here's Kaplan and Crew tonight's 60-second timeout with Haley Stasiak.
The San Diego Wave earned a 0-0 draw with Racing Louisville over the weekend. Goalkeeper Carly Telford earned her first clean sheet in the NWSL in the match. Telford had 6 saves, including an impressive penalty kick save that helped the Wave earn a point. Forward Katie Johnson got her first start with the Wave and had 2 shots on goal, playing all 90 minutes. The Wave are now on the road to take on the Chicago Stars next Saturday. In other Wave news, the club signed midfielder Jaden Shaw through the NWSL discovery process this last weekend. Shaw is forgoing her NCAA eligibility to go pro, and the NWSL opened the discovery process in order to avoid her having to wait until the 2023 draft. That's your 60-second timeout. Now back to more Kaplan and Crew tonight.
Kaplan and Crew tonight's 60-second timeout is presented by Your View. You're watching Kaplan and Crew tonight, powered by the Mightier 1090 AM, ESPN Radio, and Your View, featuring the best sports talk in SoCal.
What's going on to all the great friends that watch the show on television here on Cox Your View? What you're about to see will never be heard on radio, won't be seen on YouTube, no audio podcast. This is just for you here on Cox Your View.
Oh, shit. It's actually 6 minutes.
Okay, here we go.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, great friends. Those of you who are watching on Cox, on Channel 4 San Diego, Channel 4 Santa Barbara, or anywhere in Southern California on the Cox Your View network, we had been promoting for a long time Egg Fest down in Chula Vista. And on the weekend of, let's see, it was June 12th, Sunday, June 12th, that's when the event went down. So Grande Brown Man, let's show all of the Cox viewers what they missed. Did you guys have fun? This was a great event. I loved it.
More importantly, there was lots of food, lots and lots and lots of food.
Yeah. There were also a lot of listeners that came down.
A lot of listeners, yeah.
A lot of listeners who live in the South Bay area that were like, hey, I knew you guys were going to be nearby, so I came over. And by the way, here's one thing that's interesting. Not only were there a lot of listeners, a lot of female listeners, which I thought was super cool. And what I hear from the ladies is, I love it when you guys talk sports, but I really love it even more when you guys aren't talking sports.
Yeah, it's when you bring, this much sex appeal to a show, you get a different audience, Scott,
Facts.
I know.
Facts.
Sexy.
I mean, look at these 3 mugs,
Totally.
That saying face for radio doesn't apply here.
Hey, there was one lady that showed up, 62 years old, white woman. All she wanted to do was talk about how Browner's her boyfriend. And I'm like, see, Brown? I'm like, this is your demo, man.
That's right.
Alex, show us, what are we going to take a look at? So this is exclusive for Cox. I mean, we'll talk about this on air, but this is stuff you're only going to see here on Cox Channel 4 in Your View. What are we going to look at here first, Alex?
What do you want to look at first? You have Browner being a drone videographer. You have pictures of food. You have we talked to Brian after.
All right, let's do this. Let's start off with food, because that's what Egg Fest was really all about. It was all about the food, right? So what are you going to show us here? Let's take a look.
This stole the show, right? I mean, you gotta.
Right. Yeah. Pig on the big green egg, which, to me doesn't look great, but it was pretty damn good. No, it doesn't look good.
Oh, it looks, when I walked in, that was the first thing I saw. I walked in to the left. This guy had that big green egg wide open. I was like, well, I know where I'm camping. This is where I'm going right here.
I couldn't eat it, man. It was too much. It was too close to looking like a real pig, man.
Well, it was a real pig.
It was a real pig.
I like to eat my food anonymously. I don't like it. I don't like to look at it and then put it in my mouth. I couldn't do that.
When I get a burger, it's just a burger.
Right.
I need to see the cow that it came from.
Bro.
Right.
Right. Yeah, I couldn't eat it, man.
Any other Any other food shots that we should take a look at? Because you like the pig. We didn't really love the pig.
Did you guys end up trying the bacon wrapped Oreo?
I did not try the bacon wrapped Oreo, but I think on the right side here, there's a bacon wrapped piece of chicken. Is that what that is?
No, it was a pork belly.
Oh, that's the pork belly. Oh, and what's that little sandwich you got going there?
Pulled pork sandwich.
Dude, that looks good.
Mm-hmm.
That looks really good.
You know what's funny is that this whole time you just keep going from tent to tent to tent to tent, eating. I didn't take any pictures at all. Like the only reason I took a picture of the bacon wrapped Oreo was because I was going to text it to my lady. I was like, dude, they got bacon wrapped Oreos here.
You said they were pretty bomb though.
Okay, so it's really it was confusing. It really was confusing. You take a bite and your mouth is like, what are you doing? What are you doing right now? And then the more you eat it, you're like, yeah, this is actually fantastic.
How about
bacon wrapped Oreo?
How about any pictures? Any pictures you got, Alex, of us with lots of listeners that were down? Because that was fun. That to me was a lot of fun. Hanging out with great friends. Oh, look at this crew right here. This is a great crew. Fat Tony's in the house. Tommy. This couple right here, they're wonderful. I love these two to my left. And then my friend Suzanne is on the far left. But this is a really wonderful couple, drinking beers, supporting. That was great. Anybody else? Oh, this lady right here. She works for the county of San Diego. What a sweetheart she is. She gave me her phone number. I went to text her to give her my phone number, and she gave me a landline. So I maybe I put the wrong phone number in. I don't know. Who else?
Girlfriend?
Oh, Browner's girlfriend. This woman. She's like, I love
boo?
Browner.
What's up, boo?
That's your girl, huh, Brown?
Yeah, that's my girl right there. Shout out.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. She gave me her Instagram.
Her husband
handle.
understand.
Her husband was like, I get it. That's Cheryl Delaney, by the way. Cheryl
Her husband
Delaney
was like, take her.
Hey, Alex, show us the video. I know I talked to Brian a little bit. He was super excited about how the day went down. Show us that video if you could. Let's take a look.
Yo, so we promoted Eggfest for a long time. And today, Brian Bushfield, what do you think?
Huge success. Big. Look at it. We got 20 chefs, 40 eggs.
20 chefs, 40 eggs. We're walking in circles.
Tailing off. We would have been here an hour ago. We couldn't have done this video. There were so many people. Beer garden, huge success.
Yeah, and we did so much of the promotion besides radio was exclusive on Cox. So for everybody that's watching on Cox, dude, way to come out and support. Nice.
Right. And I mean, if you're thinking about advertising, Scott, Kaplan and crew, Cox Cable, way to go.
Thank you for that. Oh, hey, it's an
unsolicited. There you go. Thank you, Brian.
Unsolicited.
God, I'm fat. I got to lose weight. I need to lose.
Come on, man. That's what you saw.
Dude, I got to lose 15 to 20 pounds. Hey, look, bottom line is this. To all the Cox Your View viewers out there, we really appreciate your support. And we'll keep on doing this where there's just Cox exclusive content.
The NFL lives here. If it's about the NFL, you found the right station. Join 1090 every Sunday during the NFL season for the exclusive SoCal home of not one, but two NFL games every Sunday during the season on the mightier 1090 ESPN Radio.
I'm tax attorney Adam Brewer. If you have a serious tax problem with the IRS or state of California, then you don't need a tax relief company, you need a tax attorney. Call or visit my website to schedule your free tax evaluation.
What keeps me coming back is just learning more about myself in the classroom. And as I learn more about myself, I can share more about myself with my students. And I can open up more and care more and love more and teach more by example.
Teaching is just one of those things that if you have a heart for it, you've found your place. And I have found my place. I get to help little people realize what it means to learn something for the first time, and that's something like reading that will be with them for the rest of their lives.
Still a little bit overwhelmed, maybe a little bit surprised. You know, you don't go into teaching for awards, you go into teaching because you sincerely believe you can make a difference in young people's lives, and that's kind of what got me into the field in the first place.
We use our phones to order our food, catch a ride, share our stories, and so much more. SDCCU made banking from your mobile device easy too. You can do so much, get up-to-date account balances, check on pending deposits, transfer money, deposit checks, and more. Safely and securely all through the convenience of your smartphone. SDCCU. It's not big bank banking, it's better.
Thank you for joining us. Catch Scott Kaplan and crew tonight from 7 to 8 p.m. Pacific every Monday through Friday. The very best from today's Scott Kaplan and crew show on the mightier 1090 AM. ESPN Radio, SoCal Sports Talk.
Let's play a game. How